Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope all of you are having a great midweek so far. Students, in this class we are looking at an IELTS speaking section. And the topic here, based on speaking part 2, is a borrowed object. That means borrowing and lending. One of the more confusing verb pairs in English, right? It's easy to confuse the borrow and the lend, and that's because of the preposition. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Hi Lois, hi Juan, Anna, nice to see our members. Carolina is our chat moderator. You will see her in blue. She is here to help us. Welcome Ariadna, hi Shaheen, nice to see many of our regular students. Everybody, this is a lesson presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS help, visit us there. For general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. These are our websites. They power these live classes, using the websites every day will help you to master the IELTS English and pass your test. This is aehelp.com here with the blue background. You can click the big red button that way. It's a one-time payment, about $30 to $50 US, depending on where you live, and you get lifetime access. So even after you finish the IELTS, you can continue using it to study English. We're an IDP affiliate, a British Council partner, and an IELTS test registration center. And for general IELTS, it's the green background, and again, just click that red button there to join the premium version. When you're a premium student, everybody, on the website, premium students get 2 more live classes like this each week, and I will send you the links if you're registering now. If you're already a premium student, I have already sent you the Zoom links for this week. To check out that playlist, you can click there. To become a premium student, you can use this new discount code, REACH9. And that will get you a 10% discount on the website. Okay, that's coming from our latest speaking video that you will find on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and get all our videos. If you have questions, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. I'm happy to help. Tomorrow, for premium users, we have task 1 writing, and then we have speaking. All right, students, let's get into today's speaking class without further ado. So the speaking has 3 parts. Part 1, you answer questions on a general topic, and there's a little bit of an introduction. So the examiner, when you're in the face-to-face exam, they will ask you for your passport. They will ask your name. Maybe they'll ask about what you did in the morning or about your hobbies. And then they'll talk about something like drawing. Here, let's talk about drawing. And then after about 5-6 questions on drawing, the examiner will say, okay, now we will continue with part 2. And then part 2, they'll introduce the topic. They'll say, talk about an object that you borrowed. And they show you a card with some questions, and they give you 1 minute to read these questions, like, what is this item? What did you use it for? When and who did you borrow it from? Why did you decide to borrow it, and was it useful in the end? So here you have 1 to 2 minutes to talk and answer all of these questions. Then in part 3, the examiner continues with the topic of part 2, they'll say, let's talk about borrowing and lending. And they'll connect all of these questions to part 2, so the part 2 topic. And then they'll ask you questions like, have lending and borrowing customs changed since a generation before? Can you elaborate? Okay. If you're doing a really good job and giving nice fluent answers, they might even switch it up on you a little bit and ask you a similar but slightly different topic, like let's talk about favors. Okay. Sibin Wilson, nice of you to join our group of members. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Students, I am watching the chat continuously, or as much as I can. Nice to see you as well, Indra. And I'm looking at what you're saying, and I'm looking at your questions. So again, make sure to subscribe, use the channel, interact with me, and use these discount codes like Dish9 and Reach9 to get our premium IELTS course on our websites. All right, let's get into some of these questions. So let's just do a little bit of warm-up by typing the answers into the chat. Again, everybody, this is speaking, so make sure to speak and repeat. Copy what I say, copy how I say it. For those of you who know a bit about me, you know that I live, again, in Western Canada. I live in a city called Victoria, not far from Vancouver, not far from Seattle in the US, the state of Washington, and north of Los Angeles and San Francisco. So it's a West Coast style of English that I speak. It's fairly fast, but not as fast as East Coast, like New York. New Yorkers tend to speak even faster at times. I guess it's the pace of life. A little bit slower on the West Coast. Also, I live on an island. It's called Vancouver Island. The city of Vancouver is different. And Vancouver Island is a big island. It's 600 kilometers long and about 200 kilometers wide. So it's a big, big island. Has mountains. All right, everybody. So let's do this. So you go to your IELTS speaking exam, and you go early. You go about 1 hour before. You practice speaking English. You use English only before your IELTS speaking. You register for the exam, or I should say you check in 20 minutes before it starts. They take your picture. They ask you to leave your smartwatch, your mobile phone, everything except the clothes that you have on you, your pen, pencil, eraser, and a bottle of water. That's about it. And your passport or your ID card that you use to register. That's all you take in to the exam. Now, when you sit down, the examiner will look kind of like me-ish. It could be a gentleman or a lady. They could be younger, they could be older. It doesn't matter. You're there to do a job. And when you sit down, they will greet you. They will say, welcome to the speaking section of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. The speaking has 3 parts. I will give you instructions for each. For part 1, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. Before we continue, may I see your identification? Now, when you get this question, be sure that immediately you think, okay, this is a professional conversation. This is not a chit chat with my pal. I'm not having a casual conversation, even if the examiner looks really friendly. They're not an examiner. They're not here to help you speak. Okay, they're here to measure your speaking. You need to be fluent. You need to be clear. You're here to do a job. May I see your identification? Yes, gladly. Here's my passport I had used to register 2 weeks ago. Please take a look. Okay, that's it. Nice, fluent, professional. In the examiner's head, they go, okay, this person practiced, they're here, they mean business, it's good, right? Sundar says, gladly, here's my passport that I have recently used for registration. Please have a look at it. Nice, Sundar. Watch the unnecessary prepositions. Don't make mistakes introducing yourself and showing your passport. Okay. All right, Jay, Anna, Rajendra, nice job. Ayadeji. Okay. And then they ask for your name. Again, continuing in that professional tone. So what is your full name? And the hidden question is, what should I call you? They ask you this if you don't tell them. Okay. Tell them so that you're showing them you prepared. Okay. My given name is Yuki, and my surname is Yamamoto. Please just call me Yuki. All right. So give them the name as it is on your ID. If it doesn't match your ID, they will ask you, why does your name not match your ID? Okay. All right. All right. ASA says, I would like to keep it short and clean for part 1 to hold energy for the next parts. It's not about that. It's not about holding energy for part 2 and 3. It's simply about showing your best English. So it's a 15-minute interview. Hopefully you have energy for the whole 15 minutes. You need to be fluent in part 1. It will set the tone. Remember, everybody, you can't just not give effort in part 1 hoping that part 2 and 3 is where you will shine, because first impression matters. Okay, so it's kind of a good point, Asa English. So first impressions matter a lot. Okay, that's why it's so important that you answer these first couple questions so well. So tip, first impression is very important. Even though the examiner is technically not marking you on the first couple of questions, they are estimating your ability and familiarity for the IELTS. Okay, so for sure they are. All right, I know 100%. The examiner, the way you answer that question, may I see your identification, and the way that you answer the question, what is your full name, in their head, they're already formulating your band score. They're already going, is this a band 5 or a 6 or a 7? How should I do this? How should I ask these questions? So you have to really, really focus right from the very beginning. Okay, first impressions are important. All right. Okay. And then they'll ask you a couple of questions like, what do you do to relax? In order to unwind, I like to go for a swim at my local pool. I was there yesterday for 30 minutes of laps, and then I sat in the hot tub for 10 minutes. I was really chill for the rest of the day. Okay, so again, what do you do to relax? Full sentence. In order to unwind, I like to go for a swim at my local pool. I was there yesterday for 30 minutes of laps, and then I sat in the hot tub for 10 minutes. I was really chill for the rest of the day. It's okay to use slang like chill, as long as it's within professional English. In order to unwind is a everyday expression, and again, it's okay. The most important part is that the whole sentence structure is professional. It's a complete sentence with a good explanation, good example. Okay, so if I take this answer from Manjeet, I do yoga practices, I would be like, okay, that's a band 5. That's what I'm getting as your examiner. Okay, it's kind of like, okay, that's a very partial answer. We're not having a casual conversation. You're showing me your English ability. You're not just answering, right? So this, you'd want to convert that, Manjeet. So you'd want to say something like, I practice yoga to relax. I do 20 minutes of deep meditation each day with stretches. It really helps me to keep calm throughout the day. I did this just before the exam. Okay, you have to give that effort. If you're not giving that effort, in the examiner's head, they're going, okay, here we go again. All right. Okay, students, the goal here is for you to practice, and that's what I want you to do. I want you to practice. I want you to speak. Again, keep in mind that this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com. This is our website. At aehelp.com. Carolina, maybe you can put the link in the chat for everybody. We've got a full online course for you that explains the speaking, and we have over 125 speaking video lessons with in-person interviews, computer-based interviews, karaoke-style practice interviews, lots there to really help you improve and master on all kinds of topics. Okay? Thanks, Carolina. IELTShelp.com looks like this. It's the green background. You can click the big red button to join the premium version there as well. And then what you will also get are some Zoom lessons. Now, we're going to do a Zoom class right here. Here's the link for everybody. Okay. You can join this Zoom session, and we're going to speak. We're going to talk with each other. I'm going to put on my headphones, and I'm going to listen to you and ask you questions and give you a band score estimate on your speaking. So use that link. You might need to download Zoom for this. Okay. And let me just start this session. Again, for those of you who are premium users of the website, you have 2 more sessions like this. One tomorrow and one on Friday. Okay. All right. So again, get ready for these questions. You can put your hand up to volunteer. I can't use my camera, but you can. Okay. And under more is where you'll find your reactions. I've got a silly grin here. There, in the reactions, you can raise your hand like that. If you want to volunteer to try speaking, you can also lower your hand. All right, we've got 5 people in the waiting room. I'll get them in here. Got 6 now. And then we'll get into it. All right, 10 people now. Excellent. Let me just mute everybody. All right, let's start with Min today. What a pretty picture you have there. Min, can you unmute yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Minnie Hang, and you can call me Hannah.
Hi, Hannah. How are you?
Oh, please,
Hannah,
Go
ahead, Hannah.
I'm quite good. Thank
Good.
you.
All right. Hannah, I guess you are in Vietnam?
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
right.
Awesome. What part of Vietnam?
I'm in Thái Nguyên, in the north of Vietnam.
North part of Vietnam. I heard it's very beautiful there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hannah, why are you taking the IELTS exam?
In the October.
And why are you taking it?
Just for my academic way, I needed to go to my dream university.
Okay, all right. Well, let me ask you some questions. I'll do a little bit of like a mock speaking with you here, and then we'll see how you do. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to the speaking section of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner. We're conducting this exam in Vietnam. The time right now is 16 o'clock. Let's begin. May I see your identification?
Okay. Can you have a look?
What is your full name?
My full name is Nguyễn Hằng, and you can call me Hannah.
Okay, Hannah. For part one, let's talk about drawing. How often do you draw pictures?
Well, I used to draw a lot when I was a small child, but now when I grow up, I have little time to take up this hobby. So maybe just 2 times a week, I guess.
Do you use technology to help you draw or create pictures?
I don't. I prefer to use my own pencil and paper to draw my pictures because the one reason is that I don't know how to use it. I don't really know how to use technology to draw a picture.
Let's talk about borrowing and lending. When is it a good idea to borrow an item instead of buying it?
Um, I guess that it depends. There's something that we just use only one time, so I guess that it is a really good idea to borrow it instead of buying it. However, there will be something that we need to use it regularly. So if we just keep borrowing it from the other people, it will really irritating.
Okay, let me give you some feedback. All right, first of all, great job, Hannah. You've got fantastic pronunciation and excellent grammar. I know that pronunciation and grammar are quite challenging, especially for many learners in Vietnam. Vietnamese is a very different sounding language from English, so I know that pronunciation can be a real challenge. I would say your pronunciation score is like a band 8 for sure, so that's really good. Your grammatical accuracy is quite good as well. It's about a 7. And your grammatical range is quite nice also. It's about a 7.5 to 8 for sure. Your vocabulary is quite solid. I would say it's easily a 7.5. Your fluency needs work. That's usually an area for people. So I think your fluency is about a 6.5. And the coherence that you're giving me is about 7. So I would give you a score of around 7. If an examiner is really strict on fluency, they might give you a 6.5. If you said what you just said, but about 10% faster, you'd get a 7.5 for sure. Okay? So if you're 10% faster, you get a 7.5. That means that it's just for you to get a 7.5, it's just practicing. You don't need to learn more vocabulary. You don't need to learn more grammar. You just need to speak, okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Let me give you a couple of tips on coherence. One way that you can improve quickly too is coherence. Okay. So I asked you this last question: when is it a good idea to borrow an item instead of buying it? And you said, I guess it depends. Be really careful with that answer. That usually leads to a confusing situation. Okay. And then you said there's something that we just use only one time, so I guess it is a really good idea to borrow it instead of buying it. When you give an answer like that, Hannah, always include an example. Like what? Like what is something that we use just one time? Okay, because that's in my head, right? It's like, well, can Hannah tell me something that I use just one time and maybe I just borrow it instead of buy it? So what are you thinking? What is an item that I might use only one time?
Mm,
Doesn't have to be a perfect answer, Hannah. It can just be any answer that makes sense. Okay, so like what?
I think that maybe it is a book.
Okay, like a book
Yeah,
or a dress, right? Maybe you just need a
yeah.
dress for a special occasion, right? Like a book or a dress. Okay. And then you gave me the rest of the answer and you said if there's another item that we keep borrowing, it gets really irritating. That doesn't answer the question, right? I'm not asking you about when we shouldn't borrow items. I'm asking you when we should borrow items, right? So what would be another situation where we might want to borrow an item instead of buying it? So one situation is where we don't use it a lot. What could be another situation?
Mm,
Let's see if
well,
anybody in the chat can help you with that. Everybody, can you help Hannah? What's another situation um, where people often borrow objects instead of buying them? One for sure, Hannah, I agree, is when we just need the item once or twice, like a book. We usually don't read books more than once, so that's definitely it. Okay, Mana or Manan Parek has an answer there. That's a really good one. There's a few other situations. Yeah, Fatima has another really good answer in the chat. Can you see those, Hannah?
yeah, I can.
Okay, so what is Manan and Ariadna saying? What kind of situation?
Uh, this is not important for them, and when it is too expensive.
Yeah, so or where it's expensive. Yeah, when it's expensive. And what's the other one that a lot of the students are saying?
This is not important for them.
Not important. There's a different one that a few other people are saying. Rajiv is saying it as well, or not. Sorry, it was Ariadna and Manan. When it's an emergency, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So think simple in the IELTS. What's an expensive item that you might borrow if you don't have the money to buy it and you need to use it?
Um, well, I guess that maybe it is the laptop,
Okay, people usually don't lend their computers, but sure. How about a camera?
camera.
Yeah, like an
Yeah,
expensive camera,
maybe.
right? Maybe. What would be an emergency item that you might borrow?
I guess that maybe it is something. I don't know how to express it in English. It is used for uh like put off the fire.
Okay, Lois has that answer for you, like a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, yeah.
Just repeat after me, fire extinguisher.
Fire extinguisher.
Okay, so let's try this answer one more time. So we've upgraded this answer from like a band 6.5 to a band 7, or sorry, I should say band 9 for coherence. Okay, so Hannah, this is the better version of your answer, okay? Um, it is a good idea to borrow an item rather than purchasing when we just use it one time. Like a book or a dress, or when it's expensive, like a camera, or in case of an emergency, like a fire extinguisher. I borrowed my friend's camera for a project last week because I didn't have $1,000 to buy one. Try that. So when is it a good idea to borrow an item instead of buying it?
Well, I guess that when it is too expensive or in case of emergency, in case, for example, we can borrow books, dress, or cameras which cost a lot of dollar. Or in case of emergency, we can borrow the fire extinguisher. Last week, I borrowed my friend's a camera because it is too expensive to buy.
Okay, good. Yeah. So you're getting the right idea. All right. That was definitely the right idea. So that was a more, even though it was a little bit tricky because you're, trying to use the same ideas that I'm giving you, but even with that, it was more coherent and more accurate to the question. than the previous response. Because when you're saying something and this thing and that thing, it starts to become really confusing for the listener. They start to be like, what thing are you talking about, right? So you always want to be specific with those nouns. You have really solid English, Hannah. Just keep practicing lots, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. That was Hannah. That was really good. Give Hannah a thumbs up, everybody. That was fantastic. Well done. Big thumbs up. Okay, we've got more people in the Zoom session now. Again, just keep in mind, everybody, that if you're thinking, hey, this is great, I want to do more of this, the best way to do that is sign up for our premium package on our website at aehelp.com and at gieltshelp.com, and then you get full Zoom classes every Thursday and Friday. So we've got one tomorrow for task 1. All right, let me grab another volunteer from the list. We've got 19 people in here now. That is fantastic. Hi, Anna. Thanks for sharing your camera with us. Students, you can share your cameras. Let's try Henok. Henok, are you there?
Yes, Adrian, I'm here.
Hi, Henok. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing quite well also. Thank you for asking. Henok, if I'm not mistaken, this is also your first time for volunteering.
Yeah. I subscribe to your channel and turn on the notification, but it's my first class
Awesome.
to attend.
How do you like it so far?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's helping me in speaking skill. It's very good.
Good. Are you repeating the sentences? So like when I said to Hannah about, items that you often borrow, are you practicing repeating words like fire extinguisher and items we often borrow or items that are expensive? So are you repeating these sentences, these ideas?
Actually, I was not repeating the sentences. I was trying to, trying to see how the coherence goes well. Then I was trying to analyze.
Okay. Yeah, just combine that with repetition. So that's a tip for everybody, right? It's just really good to, as you're hearing, as you're listening, in these speaking classes especially, just speak. So don't be shy. Speak to your computer, speak to the wall, speak to an imaginary friend. Just repeat, just say those words, say those sentences. It's just a really good way to crystallize those thoughts, those words, okay?
Okay, Adrian, right. I will do that.
All right. Henok, where are you?
I live in Ethiopia, which is located in eastern part of Africa.
Ethiopia, yes, I'm familiar. Ethiopia in Africa, awesome. And why are you taking the IELTS exam?
I am taking the IELTS exam because I am planning to apply for master's and PhD programs in United States and Canada.
Okay, great. That's exciting. What's your major?
My major is bachelor's degree in software engineering and scientific computing.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you a few questions. Are you ready?
Yes, Adrian. I'm ready.
Let's do it. Let's talk about drawing. What kinds of pictures do you like drawing?
I would like to draw vegetables, especially fruits, because they are much easier than other complicated stuffs, and also it's usually easier to draw and color them.
How can you improve your drawing skills?
I improve my drawing skills by practicing each and every day, and also watching videos about drawings in different platforms, for example, YouTube, and also taking advices from senior drawers. Yes.
If you could draw one amazing picture, what would that be?
It would be a car, because I love to draw a car, luxurious car. So it would be a car.
That is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these, think about your answers, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. You can take notes in the 1 minute time if you wish. Talk about an object that you borrowed. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Okay, Henok, can you read the part 2 questions for everybody?
Okay. I'm not seeing the question, Adrian.
You'll see it in 1 or 2 seconds on the screen here. There's, I think, a 6-second delay between us. I'll put a little circle around it so you'll see it on YouTube. And I can also put it into the chat if I need to for Zoom, but you should see it there. So read those questions. Do you see them?
Yeah, is it on the chat?
It's not in the chat. Would you like me to put it in the YouTube chat? I can do that.
No, I was referring to the chat in the Zoom.
I can put it in there too. So
Okay.
I can
Thanks,
do
Adrian.
either one. So just give me 2 seconds. Here, I'll open up the chat and then I'll put it in there. Okay, you'll see it in the Zoom chat now as well. Okay, and I'll put it in the YouTube chat also. So when you're ready, just read them.
Okay. Okay. Part 2. Talk about an object that you borrowed. What's the item? What did you use it for? When and who did you borrow it from? And why did you decide to borrow it? And was it useful in the end?
Good. All right. So that's your first step, is just read the questions carefully. Okay. Now, your next step, of course, is to realize that you're talking about an object. Okay. When you talk about an object, this is an object that you borrowed. You need to talk about its appearance. So what does it look like? So if you borrowed a bicycle, for example, tell me what the bicycle looks like. Okay. It's a mountain bike. It has a 22-inch frame or a 50-centimeter frame, blue color, and I borrowed it last week, right? So the appearance, and then talk about its origin. So where did it come from? Last week I borrowed it from my friend. And then talk about the way you use it. So in order to make good use of this mountain bike, I have to inflate the tires, make sure they're full of air, set the seat for my height, and then it has 21 gears, so I can use the gear shift to make the biking easier or harder, use the pedals, and then you talk about why you borrowed it, so the utility. Okay, so the reason I borrowed this bike is because I got a new job and I had to get to work quickly. My new work was about 5 kilometers from my home, so it was a little bit far to go on foot. With this bike, I could save myself about half an hour in the morning, not to mention lots of energy. And I needed to borrow it until I got my first paycheck so that I could buy my own bike, right? So the utility of it, right? And then the experience. I was very grateful that my friend could lend me this bicycle, and I returned the bike after 2 weeks. I invited him for dinner as a thank you, and this is why John is such a special friend, because I know that I can rely on him. So the bike was extremely helpful, and I was able to do really well in my job. My boss was happy with me. Okay, so that's your experience. So when you talk about an object, everybody, Henok, you talk about the appearance of the object, the origin, use, utility, and you focus on the questions around that object. Does that make sense so far, Henok?
Yes, Adrian. That's a pretty good explanation.
Okay, thanks, Henok. I appreciate that. All right, so that's how you talk about an object. Now, I always recommend everyone that when you have a part two, don't just think of one object. So don't just think of a bike, right? So here I spoke about a bike that I borrowed, but you might also talk about a camera, we had Hannah saying how she borrowed a camera, or maybe you borrowed a different item, like some kind of a tool, let's say you borrowed a sander or a drill, for example, a tool to fix or to build. Okay, so think of a few different objects. What are some objects, Henok, that you have borrowed?
Okay. Recently, I have borrowed a laptop from my friend.
Okay, a laptop.
Because
Just a
friend.
sec. So before you talk about the laptop, and it's okay if you talk about the laptop, any other objects that you have borrowed?
No, not so far.
Only a laptop? You've only borrowed a laptop? Nothing else? Never? Really? Have you ever borrowed like some kind of sports equipment? Like football or a tennis racket or anything like that? Something for swimming? A boat for fishing?
No, actually, no, I haven't borrowed those things.
Okay, all right. Have you ever borrowed some apparel, like a necktie or dress shoes or a belt or something for camping, like a backpack?
No.
Never borrowed anything like that? Okay, have you ever borrowed anything for cooking or for building, like a pot or a pan or a knife or a hammer or a drill, anything like that?
Not actually.
No. Why am I saying like an umbrella? I don't think it doesn't rain very much in Ethiopia, so you probably never borrowed an umbrella. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, right? All right. Okay. Well, I won't force you, but again, students, think about 2 or 3. It's usually a good idea to think about 2 or 3. I usually tell people, Henok, to avoid talking about laptops and mobile phones. One reason is that they're too common. So examiners hear candidates talking about laptops and mobile phones too much, and it's hard for them to give good marks for those just because so many people talk about them, and some people talk about them really, really well, and some people talk about them in very confusing ways. So I usually tell people don't talk about laptops and mobile phones. But for this, it's fine. You can try it. Do you want to talk about the laptop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start from the appearance.
Sure. So go for it. Okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay, thanks. So, I have borrowed a laptop from my close friend, which is an HP laptop with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of hard disk, and the color was dark. And I had borrowed this laptop because my laptop was damaged because of overheating, and my friend at the same time bought a MacBook Pro, so he has an extra laptop. Then I borrowed him and continue my freelancing job on different platforms. I have used this laptop to do many front-end and back-end software engineering tasks as well. Additionally, I have upgraded the RAM to 60 gigawatts of RAM, which would be good to run larger softwares. And I have thanked my friend for this equipment because I was able to do my job well.
Okay, your 2 minutes is up. I'll stop you there. And we'll continue with part 3. All right, not bad. So Henok, that would be about a band 6.5. Okay, so your part 2 response. Your part one response. One answer was about a 6.5. The other one was a 7. What you need to work on is a little bit of everything. So a little bit of grammar, a little bit of vocabulary. Like you said, then I borrowed him. Okay. I borrowed it from him, or he lent it to me. Okay, so you have to be careful there, and it's tricky, right? With borrow and lend, you borrow from. You have to really pay attention to the preposition. So borrow from my friend. My friend lends to me. Okay, can you just repeat after me? I borrowed from my friend.
I borrowed from my friend.
My friend lent it to me.
My friend lent it to me.
Yeah. So the agent of the action, your friend, and the verb with the preposition in borrow and lend are very important. That's a tricky one for sure. Okay. You did a good job describing, and I liked how you used present perfect. You said, I have borrowed a laptop from my close friend. It is an HT laptop with 8 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of gig space. You said it's dark in color. It's always good to mention the size of the laptop too. Was it a 14 inch or an 18 inch? Is it a touch screen? Those are some good details to know. Okay. And then you told us what you used it for. Focus on the topic, the borrowing. Okay.
Okay.
And then, you can say like, I gave it back to my friend and I didn't ask for any money for the extra RAM. I was just really helpful, and it was a way to thank him. I told him I put some extra RAM into your computer, right?
Right.
So you continue that way. All right, Henok, thank you so much for volunteering. That was really good. I appreciate your effort. That was great. And I have a feeling that you're going to succeed, and you will be studying your master's and PhD for sure in the US. Hopefully Canada. We would love to have you here.
Okay, thank you, Adrian. And also, I would love to join your premium.
Yeah, when you get there, when you have time, absolutely join the premium version, and then you can join those Zoom classes tomorrow and on Friday as well, okay?
Okay, Adrian. Thank you.
All right, bye, Henok.
Bye.
Hello.
All right, that was Henok. Let's give Henok a thumbs up. It was really good. It was really good. I loved it. I think there's a few more
Yes, sir.
people in here.
Hello, sir.
Let me just admit these individuals, and then I'm going to mute everybody for now. There we go. We've got lots of people with their hands up. That is fantastic. Let's take somebody else here. I think we haven't heard from maybe Minnie in a while. Minnie, are you there?
Hi, sir. How are you?
I am good. How are you, Minnie?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been a while since we last spoke, I think, Minnie, hasn't it?
Yes, it's been around 2 weeks.
Couple of weeks, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
How have you been?
Yeah, I'm doing great, and I'm preparing for my exam again.
Again?
Yeah.
What happened the first time?
As I got the good marks, but it was not as per my expectation.
Yeah, you always want to do the best possible. I know, and the way IELTS works these days, right, is the higher the marks, the more you can do with it. So if you get higher marks, you can get scholarships, faster visas, etc., right? So you want to get those high band scores for sure. All right, well, let's jump into a few questions. Minnie, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's talk about borrowing and lending.
Mm-hmm.
Have lending and borrowing customs changed since a generation before?
As per my perspective, that it has changed a lot, because nowadays everyone wants the new things in their cupboards. For example, the clothes and even the things they are using in a day-to-day life. Before, there was not that fashion trend and the money crisis, so people used to lend a lot of things. For example, the kitchen utensils and the wedding clothes. But now it's totally changed. For example, I recently buy a good wedding dress for my wedding, but before people used to take from their friends.
What are good policies to follow when lending expensive objects to friends or family?
It's a good question because we should have to take care of the items which we have borrowed from the person, and yeah, it must be expensive. So first thing we have to take care that it should not be broken, and must be take care of the color. For example, the clothes while washing, it should not get damaged from the other part of the thing.
Let's talk about favors. What are some common situations where people ask for favors from each other?
I would say that there are so many situations where people need to get the favor from the other people. For example, in a debate competition where one has a team, so that team get the good positions to opposite question from the other team. And I would say, especially in a court, one get the proper judgment for that.
Okay, I'm going to stop there and give you some feedback. All right, Minnie, here it is. Here's my feedback. Listen carefully because you have to practice this if you want to get a higher score on your next IELTS exam, okay? You have to. Speak slower,
Okay.
okay? Think more, speak slower. Those are the 4 magic words for you. Think more, speak slower. You have great fluency. There's no question about your fluency, okay? I'm not going to give you less than a band 8.5 or 9 on your fluency. You speak very quickly. But fluency is not valuable without coherence. If I don't understand what you're saying clearly, I can't give you a high score. So if we are having a real conversation, not an IELTS conversation, but like a real conversation, I would probably ask you like 2 or 3 more questions just so I understand you. So like here, like this last question, it was let's talk about favors. That was the most confusing one. So I can tell that you understand me. I can tell that you understand my question, but I don't understand your answer. Okay, so I said, what are some common situations where people ask for favors from each other? And you said, I would say that there are so many situations like a competition where there are things, and you use the word things almost in every answer at least once. And it was really confusing because I didn't really know what things you're talking about. And then you said people get proper judgment for that. And I was like, well, I'm not sure what you mean. Like, here's my question, Minnie, is do you mean like in a competition a person will
Yes.
ask their friend for a favor so that they can win the competition, like helping them with an idea or some kind of physical activity? Like, is that what you meant by favor in a
No,
competition?
I meant by the debate competition. If one has the good team, so have everyone has a different judgment of the question, so one can get the win the competition
Oh,
in a debate if have a good team and people have a favor of that.
okay, so the favor is the opinion in this case, like to give an opinion for the topic that's being debated, and that's the favor is asking for the opinion or the input of the other person. That's what you mean, I guess, right?
Yes.
Okay, so again, this is what I mean. Like in a real conversation, we would have a good conversation. I can understand you, you're fluent, you can hold my attention, but I have to ask you for clarity, right? So what I recommend, and what I recommend for other students who are high level like Minnie, but sometimes speak so fast that you're not really thinking of how much the other person understands, slow it down. Just say, okay, that's a really good question. I know there are many situations where people ask for favors. One that comes to mind is a competition, like a debate, where the captain asks a favor, asks for the opinion of the other members. So that would be like, slowing it down. So being methodical. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the other tip, Minnie, is don't use things. Okay. Your English is way too good for you to use the word things so many times. You have to find the better words. You have to find the better nouns, the better expressions, the better words. Okay. So every time that you're about to use the word things, stop yourself and think of the more accurate word. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. And I would definitely say that from the first time I got 5.5 and the last time I got 7.5. So that improvement just because of you. I'm really grateful for that.
You're super welcome, and thank you for sharing that. I truly believe that with your English, you should even be able to get an 8, maybe even an 8.5. Just make those adjustments, make those changes. But hearing you go from a 5.5 to a 7.5, that really makes me happy. So thank you so much, Minnie. Have an awesome rest of your day.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye.
Bye for now. Okay, that was Minnie, everybody, and that brings us to the end of this class. Anna, I saw you volunteer. Juan, I saw you volunteer as well. I know you are both premium users of our website as well, so I will be looking for you tomorrow and on Friday for volunteering. I'll definitely give you some chances. Carolina, thank you for moderating. Thank you, everybody, for participating. If you want more chances to practice with me, please register at aehelp.com and glshelp.com. These are our websites. They provide you premium lessons. They include a lot of these tips. Okay. I love the thumbs up. Deborah, nice to see you. I don't think I've seen you in a while. Ariadna, always a pleasure. Students, have a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world right now. You're all beautiful, amazing people, and it's always a pleasure to have you here with me in these early mornings on the west coast of Canada. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria. Again, much love to all of you wherever you are. Bye for now.